Hit it, John.
Welcome, gamers, to the Couch Co-op Podcast. Let's kick off this episode with a nostalgic trip through this day in gaming history. Next up, join Dr.Demo and Buy, Try, Die as we dissect games in the ultimate gaming autopsy. Then, get ready to reminisce as we share our top 3 favorite 4th-generation console games from consoles like the Genesis, SNES, TurboGrafx 16, and NeoGeo. Stay up to date with the latest in mobile gaming with Aaron's Possible Mobile Minute. Explore ultimate co-optional picks in the Couch Co-op Optionals and test your gaming knowledge with a round of trivia. Thanks for tuning in to the Couch Co-op Podcast. The podcast starts now.
Couch Co-op is full of douchebags. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, and Couch Codependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show. Joke here, because I didn't come up with one tonight.
All one word, no hyphen.
I'm Ian. I got Jared, Dave, John here on the couch with me tonight. I'm guessing that Aaron will probably pop in around the halfway mark, but don't hold me to that. Maybe we won't see him at all.
Yeah, we just have to give up on him showing up, and that's usually about the time he appears.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing good.
Good.
Chill day.
Good weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I took my
pretty
nephews
decent.
to an all-you-can-play arcade in Tigard yesterday.
No.
And so they had a couple of $1 machines, like new ones, but they had Aliens, they had Time Crisis 3,
Nice.
Mario Brothers, a lot of 80s ones as well, but they also had like Cruising USA, which I'll bring up later. And I can't remember the name of it now, the Speedboat one, and then like all the various SNK versus, and then Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, that kind of stuff. It was
Nice.
pretty good show. It was like $10 to get in and just stay as long as you want and play.
It's awesome.
That reminds me that tonight, I guess, Ground Control was supposed to have some kind of event tonight. They were going to showcase the new Bloodborne kart game, but then that game got in trouble, and they can't be called Bloodborne anymore by Sony, so they had to pull that event. But you could still pay $6 and all you can play tonight. So this is a good segue. All the crew in the other crew that I hang with game-wise, Yusef, Mappy Man, the Dirty Dwarves, and Kenna Wolf, all those guys went down to that event tonight. Because tonight was supposed to be the Super Stream.
Yes, I remember. I had it in my calendar.
But it got postponed and rescheduled to February 18th, actually, I believe. So actually the same night that we're recording our massive 10-year podcast. But that thing only goes from like 2 to 6. And
Kenilworth is based in Multnomah County?
yeah, he's in Tigard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the whole crew.
Yeah.
So, but I need to. Yusef wanted me to make sure to you guys that if you guys want to go to the next Super Stream, he wanted as many of the couch people to show up if possible. So, but you know.
Oh yeah, I had it in my calendar.
When did they
for
do
today.
that? That'd be
I never
cool.
saw it.
February 18th. It was supposed to be tonight. It got pushed to February 18th, and it's from like
Okay.
2 to 6. It's downtown Portland, and it's fun. It's
At
just,
Yusef's place?
Yusef has his pimp ass apartment in
Yeah.
downtown Portland. It's pretty sick.
Pretty nice, and considering it's about the same cost as my house, it's like if I was
Yes,
in
a
his
bachelor.
situation, it wouldn't be. It's not a bad.
So
deal.
you're saying the sports apparel is paying off for him?
Well, I mean, he's renting. I mean, it's not like he owns it. It's like an apartment. Like Dave
Still,
owns
it's-
his house. You know, there's
Oh, it was a condo that he owned, and then he paid building maintenance on it.
I don't know if
was
it's a
my
condo. I
understanding,
thought he
but
just
anyway.
rents it.
No,
Anyway,
I thought he bought it anyway, but
well,
go ahead.
I could be wrong. Maybe, I don't know. My misunderstanding. I used to,
Is this couch real estate? What's going
couch
on?
real estate, baby? No, I'm just like trying to say, like, at some point I wanted. Well, I also wanted to promote this because then over at Yusef Hotlani.tv, twitch.tv/Yusef Hotlani, there'll be a stream where the couch and the Dirty Dwarves and Ken and Wolf will all be a part of later on in February. So it's a fun stream, and since we're streaming on Twitch right now, you know, and no one's paying
You can
attention.
see Ian play all the games that he really hates.
I
as
am
well.
going to cosplay that night, so
Oh man.
Ooh.
yeah.
What?
So
What?
I guess you'll have to find
is
out.
this
I guess you'll have to
surprise?
find out. Anyway,
Maybe he'll pull out a snake.
pull out of my snake. Anyway, enough about that. Let's go farther back in the annals of history.
Anals.
Annals. Pretty sure it's the annals, but annals of history. For John. Jared, what do we?
Yeah.
What do we got going in this day in gaming history?
Well, the only thing from January 28th I found of any interest was Final Fantasy Tactics from 1998, which is a genre of game that's still around. It's not huge. It never has been really, but it's usually way over my head. I always wanted to be good at that game and play through it, but I tried it and it kicked my ass all over the place.
I've never played a tactics game, let alone a Final
Yeah.
Fantasy game. So
Yes, of course. But I wanted to go back a couple of days on the 26th of January. Back in 2010, you guys might have heard of Mass Effect 2.
oh, what? The masterpiece that is?
Yeah. So that was on Xbox and PC back in 2010. Also, Ian, we played this one together. Mag came out in 2010.
Oh, briefly, yeah. Oh, I played. Yeah, I remember playing Mag. The
That was a huge.
128 player Battlefront,
Yeah, like-
basically.
It was pretty wild. Yeah, like 8-person
Yeah, back when
squads,
that was
all
a
part
big-
of a big team.
Big deal when they were basically trying to figure out how you could have more than like 16 or 32 people.
It was the team. It was on PS3, which is surprising, but it was the
Mhm.
team that developed SOCOM for the longest time, and then they did Mag, and then that shuttered, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, that's poor studio, because one of their final games that they released was during that time where the PS3 was hacked, and the game came out. Nobody could play it online, and that studio just never really recovered from that.
I can't believe, Jared, you didn't mention that 9 years ago, My Little Pony Cutie Pox was released.
Oh, I know. I was very
Look, you have Dave checking your homework, Jared.
well. I did want to point out one more title that Ian and I spent lots and lots of time with 6 years ago. Was Monster Hunter World. We're very excited for the new one to come out next year. Yes,
Let's
please.
go.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Wild's coming.
Bikini
It's not gonna be on
barbarians
Switch,
and
too.
monsters. Come on,
Yeah.
like bikini-clad ladies fighting giant dinosaurs. It's great.
Yeah.
If you don't like that, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Bikinis made out of the monsters that
Yes,
you're slaying.
Just to go back to Mass Effect really quickly before we end this segment, I wanted to Dave and I just finished. We just last week our Mass Effect journey ended on the last the
Or at
final
least the
game.
original trilogy.
The
We need to-
original trilogy, the last chapter, Mass Effect 3. But if you go back and listen to that whole podcast series, we talk about 2, and we're pretty much glowing over the moon about the series. So, but
It holds up really well.
It does.
If you haven't played it, you should.
or if you have
it's
played
worth
it and not in
it.
a long time, go back to it.
Yeah.
It was totally worth it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it at the time, and I enjoyed replaying it. So
Yeah, it was a lot of
So,
fun.
Ian, as a quick idea for that, maybe with all 3 of them together, you could bind them into one episode.
Just one
So
like
it's easier to
3,
get.
like 5,
Yeah.
6 hour episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably hard to find each one because they were
No.
stagnated.
if you, I mean, yes.
Just
called
a
the
thought.
search
I
engine.
can. If you go to Spotify,
Alright.
iTunes, they're pretty easy to find. But yes, Jared, I could
Okay.
make one giant, unabridged, the end all episode.
Stream of bullshit.
Yeah. All right. But that's all I got for this. Essentially, this last few days in
Oh.
history.
Well, I just want to add on to the Mass Effect 3. So, when you talk about Mass Effect 2 now, are you just going to say Mass Effect 3?
No. I was saying like we had just finished up it, but you go back and you could listen to our Mass Effect 2 episode.
No, sorry, I didn't clarify. I meant to say you hold Mass Effect 2 in such high regard, but now that you've played Mass Effect 3, are you gonna replace, say, Mass Effect 3 is your favorite instead of Mass Effect 2, or is it because there's nostalgia attached to Mass Effect 2?
Well, if you listen to the episode, yes, I do put the flag in the ground that I think Mass Effect 3 is better than Mass Effect 2, but I think they're all
It's a close run thing.
It's like all like one game. That's what's beautiful about
Yes.
it. It's really just one big fucking game.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately I found a lot more enjoyment in 3, and
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I remember that game got
I would
so
also not
lampooned
argue
when it
too
came
hard
out.
against someone who said Mass Effect 2 is the better game.
Yeah,
It's
I wouldn't
like,
argue with that either. I think it's a
Yeah.
great game. It's
I
awesome.
think they're really close. It's not.
There's just so many
okay.
other kind of cool
Yeah.
things that, and maybe because I haven't played Mass Effect 3 as many times as Mass Effect 2, but Mass Effect 3, man, holy shit, was I fucking impressed and really in love with. So
Yeah.
anyway, but no,
I think
Mass
the only
Effect 2
thing I
is
missed
great.
from Mass Effect 2 is the mining mechanic. I always enjoyed that, like cheesy, like search the planets for stuff. Yeah.
Well,
It
they
has
still
a little
have
bit of
that part
bit.
in it, John. They just don't have that.
Yeah, you
They
still get
have the other. There's the
it's
other
not
part that they
quite-
don't have.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah, let's move on. Dr. Demo, did you demo something this week?
yeah, I did. And if you're bad and missed the podcast, I'm going to make you play it.
Aaron's not going to play it, dude.
Oh, it was. So I was looking around because I was babysitting my nephew, so I'm like, okay, I can't do anything that requires too much concentration, and can't do anything that's like maybe too graphic. I'm like, okay, a racing game. There's a couple of on there, so I scroll down and I find one called Extreme Off-Road Racing. I'm like, that sounds like it might be fun. It's an older PS4 game, so I download it and I play the trial. There's 10 levels of this shite, but they give you the first level. It does allow you, so it starts you off. You can do three laps, which is more than enough. But just because I'm recording the podcast, I did play it twice on 3 laps. But you can switch it up to 100 laps of pure torture. I mean, this game is bad. If this came out on the PlayStation 2, it would be bad. The steering mechanics are terrible. It's like there'll be random cars in the middle of the road every so often, and this is why I was mentioning Cruising USA. I thought that was bad, but this, at least that had a sense of speed. This game is slow. I tried turning in. It has the graphical settings you can turn up and down. It's obviously a PC game that you converted. So I tried turning them all the way down, and the wheels were like maybe 10-sided. And you still had graphical pop-up in the distance, like
Wow.
like trees and barriers on the side of the course and stuff.
What was this game called again?
Extreme Off-Road Racing, and you're driving a Jeep, like just a Jeep Wrangler. So it feels like
That's
slow
funny.
as nails. The handling is terrible. The collision detection is like, ugh. It feels like you're driving through mud. But I thought the best part, honestly, was when when it asks you to start the race, you can select 100 laps of this. Why you would want to ever do 100
Even
laps
the trailer has really bad pop in.
That's
of
funny.
this shite. It was like,
Well,
I mean, this.
I'm guessing the buy, try, or die. This is firmly in the die category.
Yeah, go
I never
away.
gave you that idea. I mean, graphically, when you turn the settings up, it could PlayStation 5 could more than handle like the graphics looking, but even like the actual car model wasn't bad, but the course graphics, and there's like 10 levels to unlock, and
How floaty was the car driving? Like just like
it wasn't floaty, it was just stiff.
Just stiff.
It's kind of a best way to
when I play some of those shitty games and like you steer, it feels like the car's not steering; it's just pivoting. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
on bad games, it doesn't steer; it kind of just pivots. And I'm like,
From the middle.
yeah, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
what?
it looks like that.
And I
it
don't
doesn't
know
look like
why.
there's physics
I
attached to
don't
the
know
car.
why it was like. So this game's $9.99.
Oh,
No,
Like, why
way.
anyone would buy this? I don't
There's
know.
0 user reviews, and it came out in
It would-
well,
November.
you're getting your user review right now.
Yeah,
would
yeah. It's
be better off not
Yash Future
offering
Tech
it.
I'm
Solutions.
watching the trailer right now.
They would be better off not offering a demo, to be quite honest, because there's no sense. It says you're going 80 mile an hour. There's no sense of speed for
Oh,
starters.
really? It says that fast?
The AI is shit.
Oh,
You're not
oof.
even touching the car, and you crash into him and slow down to nothing. Trying to go around the corners is shit. There's the jump. There's no like. So I was like, extreme off road. Okay, they can't fuck this up too badly. Maybe there's some like good jumps, and because
Does
what's
it
that
say
game where
anywhere
you
made in dreams?
ride the mountain bike
Made
down
in
the hill?
dreams.
And so it's got to be someone's tax write-off. That's all I can
Well, here,
think.
this reminds me of a game that I play, and it's usually on sale. You can get the base version for $1.99 and the deluxe version for $2.99. But it was like originally like a full $60 game. It's an off-road game called Gravel, and it is just there's a demo for it too, and it is just because that's how I played it, and it is just it's like what you're saying, Dave. It's just awful. Like there must be so many of these backwood hicks that like playing these shitty ass games drunk that they make a shit ton of them. There's like so many of them. It's just so fucking weird. I don't know.
Let me read you from the game description.
Oh, we're
from
giving
the
this game too much head. All right, go for it.
PlayStation 4 at store. Extreme off-road racing is the ultimate 3D off-road racing game for all age group.
Yep.
No S on the group. There are 10 racing challenges in which the player has to face different hurdles and difficulties to complete that challenge. Game adventures begin with 10 different challenges with up to 100 laps in each challenge.
Great.
Gets better. Off-road racing adventurous journey begins with 10 different with exciting 10 different challenges such as winter, sunny, desert, raining, volcano,
Raining.
river,
The
beach,
weather is a
zigzag,
challenge.
hill drift, adventurous.
Okay.
Get ready for adventurous journey ahead. Sorry,
With 10 challenges.
It's kind of difficult to read the disjointed English.
Yeah.
It's written by ChatGPT. Come on, no.
Yeah, but I loved that was one of the things I loved about it. The levels were called winter, sunny, desert,
That's
rainy.
great. I have a
Yeah.
high level demo Dr. Demo question. Now, clearly a demo you can play it and just know right away a game is awful. But can you play a demo like just from your opinion, can you play a demo that's like maybe it doesn't really hit hard, but then the game could ultimately be awesome?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, I feel like racing games are one where it's like, okay, it's more about the feel and the mechanics. So if you play the game, yeah, it might not be the greatest course, but it gives you an idea. It's very easy in 5-10 minutes to get a good feel for the game.
Right.
Whereas some other games like Adventures or, I mean, like Destroy All Humans that I played last week, there's quite a bit of different mechanics in the later levels. Like you disguise yourself as a human. Once you get used to it, it's okay, but it's like totally different from the demo. So
Okay. I just
I don't know.
We're doing this demo thing, and I think for the most part, you can get summed up from a demo whether you should play a game or not. And
I think a lot of older games, it's a lot easier or simpler games. Like
Right.
you could get a very good feel for most racing games in the demo.
I
Most
think so.
shooting
I
looks,
agree.
You could probably get a good feel, but like
some
something
RPGs
like,
or something some
something
longer
like Death
form.
Stranding or
Mhm.
Final Fantasy, it's like,
Yeah.
although Final Fantasy VII, the remake, they did a good demo of that.
The
I
demo
felt
was good. It was very
like
sizable.
that gave you a good feel of you're either going to like it or you're not.
I also feel
But
like
then
that's
Final
why there's
Fantasy's
not a lot of
an older
demo
game.
for certain games. Like they want you, they feel like you need to kind of spend a couple hours with it before you, you know.
Yeah,
This game gets really good at about 18 hours. You gotta just get through it.
Yeah.
I've got 2 or 3 demos lined up. There's a couple of newer games that I wanted to play that are like current game demos.
Well, I like you playing the shitty ones too, because that's always entertaining.
Yeah.
I was hoping for
course.
more, to be quite honest. I didn't. It was quite a like refreshing blast of turd, and just makes you realize how far we've come. Because I have played games like this on the PlayStation 1. It definitely had that PlayStation 1 shovelware vibe going.
Brutal.
Yeah.
All right.
But you should play it.
No.
In fact, if there's someone you hate and you want
recommend
to
it,
I highly recommend 100 level. Like, actually, yeah, if you want to punish your child, and they've been bad, you should download this game, and then you can. It's like, corporal punishment. You can select the number of laps that they have to play, because they might enjoy it for the first lap, but 30, 50, 100 laps, that might be enough. I'd feel bad actually giving someone 100 laps of this, but yeah, punishment game.
There
Perfect.
You go. All right. That's Dr.Demo with your demo of the week, and it's die. Don't play it. Well, unless you're going to punish them. All right, we're going to move on, and I'm always trying to think of like new and old things to kind of like, because we're a podcast that floats between people that play new games and people that play old games and play really old games, or we just need to like come up with content that isn't what just came out. None of us are talking about Tekken 8 right now, so
There's a demo of that, by the way.
there is. That's a great game. It's fun. The
game, last I saw, it had a 90 on Metacritic.
Yeah, it's getting stellar reviews.
Damn.
But yeah, it's this last
I
couple
also
years.
feel like that's a good game that a demo would actually give you a good feel for.
Last 2 years is like the re-come up of the fighting games, Street Fighter 6 and now Tekken 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like anyway, but we're not talking about those games. We're talking about old ass games. We're talking about the 4th generation of video game consoles, the Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo, also the TurboGrafx-16 and the SNK NeoGeo.
It says that generation ran from 1987 to 1997.
There you go. And
To make this short, did anyone actually have a TurboGrafx or a NeoGeo?
I borrowed one.
I rented
not
a
a NeoGeo.
TurboGrafx-16.
I never even saw one until the Retro Gaming Fair in Portland.
The cartridges were
And the
really
same with
weird. Like,
I've
little
never
discs.
played a Neo Geo home console.
I played the arcade. but
arcade one, yes, for sure.
Mhm.
Actually, I played Metal Slug this weekend. I'd never played that game, and
Nice.
it
Really?
holds up surprisingly well.
I guess I
and
could have. I
graphics
guess I
are
could have picked those
beautiful.
games because I have played like Metal Slug and Samurai Showdown, all those games from that console.
I was surprised at how beautiful it looked and how good it was.
some of those. I mean, actually, some of these games from this console generation are pretty
How
beautiful.
it held up.
They actually look really good and still hold
Yeah.
up. I think a lot
Most
of
of
them.
them hold
I
up.
imagine a lot of the ones we're going to choose actually still hold up, as
Yeah,
opposed
to
to
remind you why that art style is still a thing.
as opposed
Yeah.
to the 8-bit generation that they're kind of it is what it is. I feel like this generation has some pretty good. I mean, I didn't pick any of these, but like like Lion King and Aladdin. I mean, those games are really fucking strong. They look really good. There's some.
Yeah.
I didn't pick Echo the Dolphin, but that fucking game looks cool and plays really well. I don't know. There's some great looking games, and anyway. So that's this generation. So yeah.
Do you want me to run over some sales numbers for the four different ones?
Sure. You want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought that up.
Oh, hey, Mr. Trivia here.
Homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
job.
Super Famicom or Super NES sold 49.1 million units as of 2003. The Sega Mega Drive or Genesis sold 35 to 40 million.
Pretty close.
And the PC Engine or TurboGrafx-16 sold 10.5 million.
Not bad. That's more than I thought.
Yeah, and NeoGeo sold about 1 million.
Yeah, that was
And
always
the-
the.
That's a
wide
pretty
body
expensive
console.
console, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And the Commodore Amiga sold about 4.85 million.
Should we have included that? Because my understanding is that's more of a home PC.
It is. It's under home
I would
computers.
put that in computers as opposed to consoles.
I thought about that, but it's like.
But I think most people used
if
it
you were
as a
calling
video
it-
game system.
If you 16-bit machines would be a different, like a
Right.
more
Yeah.
broad category than consoles.
Yeah.
By definition
thought
of the fourth
adding that would be
gen
fun.
console, video game console, then I felt like
Mhm.
that wasn't a part of it. But like I was seriously thinking like, well, I mean, days. Anyway, this also gave me ideas. Like we should do like a whole like big box PC game, like list. Back when PC gaming, not like current PC gaming is mixed, but like older,
Big box,
like 90s, like 90s,
90s,
2000s.
early 2000s.
Yeah,
with
like that big box PC
like
game.
giant
Yeah, like I
box
want to
of
do.
Return to Zork discs.
Yeah, a bunch of because I feel like us who play PC games, we probably have a very weird list. We probably have all very different lists on that one too. But anyway, so this
But
spurred on
let's
some
move along.
ideas. So yes, Jared, we'll move along. So our top 3 favorite 4th gen console games. Jared, kick us off. Number 3.
Number 3. Still, man, I have way more than 3.
Oh,
I
shit.
could have even gone longer, but
I don't know.
I
if
will
could've.
go with Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Oh, okay.
That's still one of my favorite genres to play. Top down, like I'll buy games on the Switch that are remotely like Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. It's just one of many Super Nintendo games that I plowed through many times.
Did you buy the remake?
No, that's not a remake of that. That's the Game Boy one. Like not Adventure of Link. Link's Awakening is the remake that they did. Yeah,
sorry. My bad.
Yeah, that was the Game Boy one where
They
he's
all sound
dreaming.
it's link in, link out, past.
Yeah.
It all sounds the same. Shitty game out, shitty game in. I don't know,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Link to the Past is still one of my favorite Legend of Zelda games. The 3D ones they're fine, but I prefer that top down Legend of Zelda style.
Cool. All right, there you go. Dave, what's your number 3?
So I have to just start by saying I never owned a Super Nintendo.
Nor did I.
My brother got a Sega Mega Drive, as it was, or a Sega Genesis to you guys. But I never owned one, so I played a few games. But by the time he got it, I want to say it was 94, 95, and I went to college shortly after. And it was a wonderful machine. I have fond memories of playing Altered Beast on it, even though it was terrible. I remember that game being terrible. But,
oh yeah.
I mean, so I'm probably going to steal someone else's thunder, but Super Mario Kart.
Nice.
I always enjoyed that game. A friend of mine had a Super Nintendo, and he would get import cartridges and got Street Fighter 2, which was good, but that game never really resonated with me. But Mario Kart, there was something about that. We would just play against each other, and just a lot of fun. And I still like that game nowadays.
Even that one had the battle mode.
Yeah, you had the battle mode, and you had the free balloons, and it was just
great.
a lot of fun, and you could grief each other. And you guys all know how I like griefing people if I'm in the mood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ring them out, baby.
That back in the multi-tap era, where there was a lot of multiplayer games that you needed the multi-tap for more than 2 people. Now it's wireless. You just just sync up a controller. You're good to go.
Cool.
Yeah, because I actually I think I remember he had Super Bomberman with the four-player multi-tap.
That game was great.
And that was a revelation, having 4 people play at once. And again, another game you can grief people on. So maybe
I think it was 5 on the TurboGrafx 16.
Man, like I say, I never saw one of those.
Yeah. All right.
For a time, I did want a TurboGrafx portable instead of the game. I got the game.
Oh, the Lynx.
Yeah.
That's Atari.
No, not Lynx. That was the Atari. They had a TurboGrafx one that would look like a Game Boy with a color screen.
But it would use the same games.
Really chunky, yeah.
But you can still use the same game either or. It was,
I never saw one of those.
Retro
Alright.
has had them. Anyway, I'll point it out next
Okay.
time. Anyway,
Yeah.
John, are you participating or are you still sitting it out?
No. I got some games now.
Oh, here he's
Okay,
going.
good.
All right. So John,
Yeah.
he was feeling a little timid, like he's a little. He didn't want to come out of his
He
shell.
was a wee seed when these systems came out.
But I had to tell him that I didn't play none of these games either. I was just, doing it for the content. So
Yeah, I also had to remind him that, like, when the Atari, I was born when the Atari 2600 came out, and those were popular when I was 7 or 8 years old. I remember playing those; they were still floating around.
All right, John, what's your number 3?
Earthworm Jim
Oh yeah.
for the Genesis.
I just want to stay
I do
before
remember that. Beautiful
we
game.
carry on this conversation. My number 3 is also Earthworm Jim, so we can just talk
Hell
about
yeah.
this game together. Go, John.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's a pretty inventive game. I mean, the fact that you have a worm attached to a cybernetic body is pretty inventive itself. The cartoon itself was pretty inventive. He had his like goldfish sidekick, and then, but even just playing the game and looking at it all these years later, I mean, it is a side scroller, but it's
Very
very
animated.
unique in terms of. I mean, when I think of side scrollers around that time, I think of Mario. But then when you look at Earthworm Jim, it's very kooky, and then also has different. It's not just a side scroller. I mean, he has this little space flight battles where he's trying to collect bubbles, um, and then also just kind of like the Ash Williams Evil Dead vibe, where he's saying like groovy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
I
it's a
remember
very
that.
unique game for that kind of era, just very kooky and very off the wall.
Yeah.
I
I loved
will-
that game.
I will concur, as this is my number 3. I think it's cool. Like, you pull your head out, you pull your body out, and you whip shit and you
Mhm.
swing across, like Indiana Jones. I think the comedy is just kind of fun. It's another one of those games. This is like, it looks cool. Like, it doesn't look. It looks like the cartoon. It looks cartoony. It looks like it doesn't look
The
like
backgrounds
a
are
shitty.
cool.
It doesn't look like a shitty video game, like from that period. Like you're like, oh, it's starting to look good. It's starting to look like
Yeah, that's the thing about this period is it's like they start to be able to do graphics that look like
Mhm.
cartoons, essentially.
Do you guys remember ever finishing the game?
Okay, so here's my I was going to talk about it. This is why it's my number 3 because I've 1 and 2 live in my mind and they interchange. I could never really tell you which one is which. I've played both of them a lot, but I've never beaten them. And if you were to like load up Earthworm Jim 2 and put me in a level, I would not know if it was Earthworm Jim 1 or 2. I just know that they're fun to play. They're goofy. There's a lot of shit about cows. You'll do like a random you'll be playing the level and you'll do something random and a cow will launch and you'll be like, what the fuck? These games,
that cow,
no, hold on a
I
second,
was
hold
going
on.
to bring that up.
Well, okay, I'm going to bring this up first. So they're developed by Shiny Entertainment, and so the game that I do know I beat multiple times. It came after this, but one of my favorite games from this developer is MDK, and they have a lot of the Earthworm Jim shit exists as Easter eggs in that game, and it's kind of funny. And anyway, so.
I don't remember that about MDK.
Oh, really? Oh, they have the cow shit. They have there's all kinds of stuff. Especially the second one, because that one's just off the hook. The first one's a little more hardcore, but they also have all the goofy shit.
But if I remember right, that cow you launch in the first level is the same one that lands on the villain at the end.
Is that what happens?
Yeah.
See, that's great. See, I never made it to
So
the end.
it's connected. Yeah.
Never made it to the end. So I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I love the game. I love the humor. I love the aesthetic. I love, I don't know, just the way it looks. It was always fun.
Yeah. It was fun, but yeah, very challenging. Very challenging to get through.
Number 2, Jared.
Number 2. I'm going to go with, I actually just finished it on the PlayStation remake, and it established that it's still one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. It's better than the remake, Secret of Mana by Square. Yeah,
So
I
is
love
this
Secret
just
of
going to
Mana.
be a Jared RPG, SNES RPG episode?
I mean, that's one of Aaron's favorite games.
Secret of
He
Mana.
brings up Secret of Mana a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my all-time favorite Super Nintendo games. I mean, I have a very long list of big Super NES games. I didn't even complete my list, but I went with at least 6 or 7 just off the top of my head. And I literally just blitzed through Secret of Mana this week. It's only like a 15-hour game, so it's
Only.
while the remake is kind of
Wow.
mediocre, it's still worth a play.
Only. I'm playing a 7-hour game that took me a week to get 3 hours into it.
Yeah, well, I can play this when my kids are awake, so it's kind of nice. Now,
Well,
now it's over. I
I
have to find a new one to play
shouldn't
during
make
the
fun
day.
of that because I put like 22 hours into Baldur's Gate 3 this weekend. So
Nice.
anyway, sorry, Jared, go ahead. Secret
No,
of Mana.
no, it's
that's
all
it.
good.
All right.
Yeah, and I love Secret of Mana. The music
Getting
is
ready
so
for the
good.
sequel is what you're doing.
Yes, I'm super
Getting-
excited. There's Visions of Mana comes out this year, and I'm super excited about that.
There you go.
It's been 15 years since the mainline one came out for the Mana series.
There you go. Mana. All right, Dave. What's your number 2?
So before I go to my number 2, I do have to, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but do you remember the Sega Genesis came out a year and a half before the Super Nintendo? Like, the Super Nintendo was this mythical beast on the hill for quite a long time. Because I definitely remember
I was
that. Maybe
so
it was a
not into
European
video
thing.
games, so like I had no concept.
Yeah,
of
because
any
I
of it.
think even in Japan, the Super Nintendo was a year and a half behind the Genesis, and so it was like
I was into
you were-
pornography. I had a subscription to Playboy.
Man, my mom's gonna hear that.
and you were, this was 1990, so you were 12.
No, it's Genesis.
Because that's when they came. The Genesis came out in the late 80s, actually. So
Oh wow, no. Okay, so
Yeah.
never mind.
Ian,
And
don't
then-
self-incriminate yourself.
I don't know. Like we didn't get a Genesis in our house until like 94,
yeah, I was going to say my
93?
brother, but even then, like and
and I was
Anyway.
definitely looking at pornography.
you're still not 18. But
Oh yeah, no, it's illegal. My mom wrote a letter to Playboy being, "You should not have sold these magazines to my son." And then I got them for free, and she let me keep them.
teenagers find a way, don't we? The joys of mail order. But no, I was. Oh, is that the first issue you got? Do the pages still open, or are they stuck together?
Oh, they open. Anyway, you were saying, Dave?
Yeah, I was going to say Sonic the Hedgehog. I just remember when that came
The
out.
first one, not the second one?
The first one, because it was so fast. It wasn't it's like, looking back, it's not necessarily the greatest game. And that it was kind of nice to see, like, Sonic 2 took it and improved it. But Sonic 1, I just remember that first level and just how quick it was and how fluid it was, and it had a flow about it if you got into it. And I just remember us sitting in one of my friend's bedrooms and he had it, and we just take turns playing it. It was just, and his brother had the Super Nintendo, so we would like swap between bedrooms and play
Nice.
like Mario and Sonic, depending on. But it was kind of the console wars in one house, to be quite honest, because they were like a year, maybe 2 years apart, the two brothers, and so like one of them had the Super Nintendo and one of them had the Genesis, and it would be like we'd spend a lot of time in one guy's room because they had the latest game or whatever, and then it would be like 3 months later in Street Fighter or whatever. So good times.
Yeah.
I had a Genesis when I went to my cousin's house, so I didn't have tons of experience. Like those are early games and
Yeah,
Streets of Rage
my
and
brother got one. I
like that.
got one and actually had it during its like peak years, like 93, 94 kind of
Mhm.
thing.
See, we didn't have any of that. Like Shane and I were not super into video games at the time, and so I'd have friends come over and they'd bring their Super Nintendo and we'd play Pilot Wings or Mario Kart, F-Zero, or NBA Jam, and then Justin would come over and he had a Genesis and we'd play some games on that. But it was not something for me that held my attention, and until a certain point where Shane was like, I want to get a Genesis, and then he bought Justin's Genesis, and then that's when we had a Genesis in the house. But even then, Shane was more obsessed with it than I was. It's interesting.
Yeah, to be quite honest, a lot of the games we're talking about don't, well, apart from Jared's, don't have like very strong stories. You know, like
it's coming, Dave.
I know it's coming, but Super Mario Kart and for me, Super Mario Kart and Sonic are like they're just fun to play. It's like they feel good. They have a flow about them. It's not.
The story is your princess is in another castle. Pretty much.
To be quite honest, if I wanted story games, I was playing games on my Amiga or
PC stuff.
Yeah, text adventures, graphical adventures on other systems. I wasn't playing for me, the consoles were always about either trying to get that arcade experience, i.e. it was an arcade conversion, or trying to, or very flowing kind of arcadey games.
I mean, 95, we get our first PC, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get porn off the machine. So, I mean, that's literally all
I think it was about 96. I think I got the first modem.
That's when you were 18,
that
right,
was a
Ian?
whole other world.
Anyway, so I was not 18. I was like, I was the youngest of my friends in high school. Anyway, John, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Donkey Kong Country for the SNES.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Also very challenging.
That
very
is a
good.
fantastic game. I remember playing that in about 1997, 98 when the PlayStation 1 had come out. And graphically and playability wise, it still held up. If you put that against the PlayStation 1 game of that era, it was still like holding its own.
Yeah, I mean, obviously came from Rare, which was a legendary developer for Nintendo for a very long time. It has kind of like, to me, it has like a claymation kind of style of graphics. But yeah, it was a solid side scroller, but they mixed it up. I mean, you could play as Diddy or Donkey. I mean, they would both act as like lives for each other, so that was unique. And then you would go through different terrain, but you would have actual different vehicles. Like you could ride on the Rhino, ostrich, and like a mining cart, and just very unique in terms of side scroller platforming type of game. In terms of like the enemies and the settings. They did a great job of breaking up the pace so you wouldn't get bored just jumping on the same crocodile heads over and over again.
Yeah, I remember the pre-rendered graphics on that looked fantastic. I read later on that they had silicon graphics workstations that cost a fortune, and they had these fancy 3D models almost a la PlayStation, and basically rendered them out as each individual frame of the animation, and that's why it looks
wow. Damn.
The Switch has a Donkey Kong Country game called Tropical Freeze, but it's still $60. So I'll probably never play it.
Nintendo don't give a shit.
Yeah.
About your wallet.
Yeah.
What year did it come out?
It came out on the Wii U.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
And it got transferred to the Switch. So it's $60 still.
So you mean it came out on the Switch?
It came out on the Wii U.
No, you mean it came out on the Switch?
No. Yeah. Wii what? yeah. Ian's pulling out his Wii. His Wii U title.
This came out on the Wii. This came out on the Wii U.
Yeah. That's right. No, nobody ever talks about that.
I've only ever seen it on the Switch, so it came out on the Switch, right?
The Wii
yeah. What's the Wii?
The Wii U is so far superior. Anyway, my number 2 is also a number 2. I actually played a lot of this game. My brother, after he bought Justin's Sega Genesis in like 1995, one of the first games my brother bought was X-Men 2 Clone Wars.
Nice.
And this is just I don't play games a lot, but when I was bored or Shane was playing and Shane would play and he'd want help or ideas. We would play this. We'd sit there and play it and like try to figure out the best ways to get through the levels. And
Is this a Turtles type game or is it a Street Fighter type game?
neither. It's more side scroller. It's
Like a
not. It doesn't
platformer.
have that perspective like Turtles does. It's just a strictly
Yeah.
side scrolling, and all the characters have their own powers. And Wolverine's that one character that actually heals slowly, like he. So they actually do some of that stuff. Comic book wise, the levels are very like the certain levels in the comic books, like the Savage Lands, like the Savage. I mean, it does a very good job of being like catering to comic book nerds. A lot of comic book movies or video games didn't do that. They were very like just randomly weird. And so X-Men
like
2
back in the NES stuff, yeah, super weird stuff.
but even some of the
Yeah,
Genesis
weird
and like some of the
enemies.
Batman shit or whatever, it's just very weird and just like, okay, what is this? This did a good job of just being very faithful to the comic property, but then also being a really fun game. And music was super good. I never beat it. I got close to beating it. Shane did beat it, but it was both of us like kind of piggybacking off each other, figuring out best ways and scenarios. So it was one of those things like that kind of old school, like you pass it back and forth and you figure out what works best. But yeah, no, I always really loved this game. My brother got rid of his Genesis at a certain point. It was sad, blah, blah, blah. But when Dave passed on his Genesis and then his Genesis somehow made it to me through Jared or whatever, X-Men 2 does exist in my collection. And it is one of the few Genesis games I have replayed as a grown-up. Just a piece of news.
Well, that's cool.
Just some of the piece of news that came out recently is that is it Hyperkin? They're doing a handheld. It's called the what is something? It's like a they're calling it like something drive, M drive. I don't know. Anyway, it's basically a handheld Genesis, and you can put
So like the Sega Nomad.
yeah, but you put the cartridges in it.
Yeah, like the Sega
Yeah,
Nomad.
yeah. Anyway, so it's like that's coming out this year at some point. I'm actually thinking about getting it just because I could play through these Genesis games and not have to hook up the Genesis. I don't know. It seems like more interesting to me as a way to play these games. A lot of it has to do with X-Men 2. Anyway.
You've never told me
So
that.
does it
That's
come
really
with a
cool.
full library of Genesis games?
No. It doesn't come with a library at all. It's literally a cartridge.
It's called Mega 95.
Mega 95. That's what it's called.
It looks nice. It looks really comfortable.
It's literally a handheld that you put the cartridges in.
Very small form factor.
And I have a
Oh,
huge
so you put the original cartridges
the original
in it.
cartridges in it, and I have
Oh,
a
wow.
huge library of original cartridges. And instead of just playing them here, it'd be cool to like put one in and just like take it on the go and have it. It's a really nerd level, high level thing, but it's like that seems kind of cool. And this is one of the games I would love to do it with. So yeah, my number 2 is X-Men 2 Clone Wars.
I just posted a link in the chat.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's like $200 maybe. Pretty decent.
probably all those are around two.
Oh, and it has a docking station.
Oh yeah, you could
play
dock it
with
and actually play it on
controls.
an actual TV. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know
Is
me,
this-
I'm all about docking.
The Super Nintendo, the Super Nintendo version has a dock. It docks too, so like they are putting out this version. And anyway, I just wanted to put up
Yeah.
some recent news that has to do with this.
A
Anyway,
10-hour battery. Nice.
That's
Jerry.
pretty sweet.
it is pretty sweet. I might pick it up anyway.
Yeah, maybe. Go for it.
Jared, what's your number 1?
My number 1, it's still there. I still watch streams of it every once in a while on Twitch or some videos, music videos people make because I love the music in it, the story, all the characters. It's Final Fantasy, as everybody knows it now, is 6, which it was Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo. Yeah, the music is still something because I played so much of the game.
How does
I
it go
probably
from
played
3
through
to
the game.
6?
Because a lot of them didn't come out in the United States.
So which
So
ones?
they-
So the Nintendo
that
ones
the ones
aren't the
the
original
final one?
ones, and then
Well,
they
the
get renumbered?
NES, the first NES one was Final Fantasy 1, and then we didn't get 2 or 3. 4 came out as 2 over here. We didn't get 5, and then 6 came out as 3 over here. And then 7 came out, and ever since then, it's been numbered correctly. And eventually, they released all these other titles slowly through different reasons over
see.
here. So yeah, the naming, the number convention of it was really obnoxious.
Doesn't really matter because there's no continual story.
No, it's not. It never had. Well, they've done sequels to some games. Even I think Final Fantasy IV got like a half-ass sequel on like the Wii.
Oh, really?
And could only buy it through like the Wii store. I never got to try that because I love Final Fantasy IV. That's on Super Nintendo as well. I played through both of those games many times through. I am a huge fan of Final Fantasy still. I just finished Final Fantasy 16 and its DLC this last week. Did that.
Oh, is that the copy
Yeah.
I should have picked up from Ian?
Yeah,
Jared
Thanks
has
for not
it again.
picking it up.
Jared has it again.
Thanks for not picking it up so I could play through the DLC. Yeah.
All right. Final
So
Fantasy.
yeah, Final Fantasy 3. That one was awesome because it also had like I had another friend that was huge into it. You know, he was playing on his little 13-inch TV in his bedroom, and every once in a while we'd get together and play because you could play 2-player with it. One of you could control just one of the other characters in the battle party. So it was a lot of fun just doing stuff like that. And yeah, the score of that game was top notch. There's still musicians releasing renditions of the music from that game, and I just have nothing bad to say about it.
All right. Number 1, Final Fantasy 3.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Dave, what's your number 1?
My number 1, and the one I have the most fond memories of, is Streets of Rage 2.
Nice.
Music. Speaking of music,
Like the music, but it was the first time I felt like I was playing a game that was as good as the arcade game, if not better. And I want to say it was about an hour and a half, 2 hours to beat. So you could beat it in an afternoon with a friend.
No
And that was
quarters,
good.
baby. Oh.
And
No
that was the other
quarters.
thing. You could play 2-player on it, so you could play cooperative. And it was just because I always liked Final Fight, but
It's
not
pretty
having a Super
slow.
not having a Super Nintendo, I thought like Streets of Rage was just. I just remember playing that game over and over and over again. The graphics.
I feel like
were
Streets of Rage
great.
2 is generally considered the best of that genre, right? Final Fight,
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles. all
Yeah,
those
Streets of
games.
Rage 1 was good, and the Ninja Turtles games came out. I want to say they came out a little after, but also they were conversions of the arcade
Or Double
games. So
Dragon, all that.
you'd already played them. Did they ever do a home conversion of the Simpsons arcade game?
no.
I'm always surprised they never did, because that game was so popular in the
It must be
arcade.
licensing, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, it must
Maybe.
be licensing, because that would have,
I swear,
like back in the
I don't
day, that
know.
would have been a license to print
It
money.
might have
if
come
you know
to
what I mean. If you had
PS3 or something
the
like
Genesis.
Oh yeah, I
version
think it
or-
came out in the later consoles. I think it definitely came out.
Oh, I'm sure they did, but like back in the day, that was like.
Did it though? I mean, the X-Men came back out, and so did the Ninja Turtles, but I don't remember
Yeah.
there being the Simpson one.
I remember the Turtles in Time was essentially
Oh.
just the.
that. Let's see.
So yeah, I always wondered why that game never came out on the home consoles, because it was like one of the bigger arcade beat 'em ups. Anyway, back to Streets of Rage 2, but the music's
Yeah.
fantastic, the graphics are great, and the replayability is just there. I've beat that game I don't know how many times.
Did you
It's
play-
been on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, the
Yeah.
Simpsons game.
Oh, was it? All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but by then that ship had sailed. I mean, those are what
right.
the consoles
That's
that
just
came
they're
out.
just like
Yeah.
selling on nostalgia. Because that's
Yeah, at
that's
that
like
point,
when
there's
the-
no money to be made from.
That's like when the X-Men dropped, and you could play like 6-player X-Men on the X-Men version of that game. Anyway,
Yeah, I was
But
always
Streets of Rage 2.
that game never came out on this generation of consoles, because they could handle the graphics. And
I mean,
They
what
could've
is it?
made
The
a
new one,
pretty
Streets of
good
Rage
stab
4?
of it.
It's a pretty good game. I know Jared didn't like it as much, but I thought it was pretty
Because
great.
I liked River City Girls way better.
yeah, okay.
I
But
enjoyed Streets of Rage 3, but I haven't played 4.
I think 4 looks really cool, and I think it plays a lot of fun. And
I just
you
remember
probably
trying to-
enjoy it.
I just remember playing a lot of conversions or like other games that were based on essentially those side-scrolling beat 'em ups. I always enjoyed Golden Axe on the Amiga.
Golden Axe.
I really enjoyed. I think it was Renegade 2 on the Amstrad, which is a really old game. It's not the greatest, and it's not held up that great, but that was close. And then Streets of Rage 2, I just remember playing that and thinking like, this is an arcade game, but it's like on the console here at home. So
Cool.
I feel
Streets
like
of
that
Rage.
that exemplifies what the
Also, some of
sound
the
and
greatest
graphics
music
can
of
do.
some like
Yeah.
Yusef loves that soundtrack. He plays it all the time. So
Yeah,
cool.
there's a reason. It's such a good game.
All right. Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah, apparently you could play it on Xbox 360 through Xbox Live Arcade.
2?
Yeah, Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
Very
but
good.
I just looked on Xbox app and you can't play it currently
Oh.
on Xbox.
Mm.
Darn.
John, what is your numero uno?
So numero uno is Mega Man X for the SNES.
That was on my list.
Mex.
So I have pretty fond memories of this game because when I was young, I would go over to my cousin's place for Thanksgiving, and they had a Super Nintendo, and I would typically play this game once a year for like 2 or 3 years. And I never got past the first level, which is when you're in the cityscape. And but I just have good memories of shooting lemons at all the robotic enemies, and I was also a big fan of the cartoon show around that time. That I don't know if the game was based on the cartoon show, or the cartoon show was based on the game, but either way, Mega Man had the same blue suit in both the cartoon and the game. So I had a great time playing this game.
But the cool part about Mega Man X was, you know, I'd been playing Mega Man on the NES for years, and then it came to Super Nintendo, and you could upgrade your armor if you found all the secret locations, and that looked really
really?
cool. Yeah, all the armor pieces looked really awesome on Mega Man X, and they added dash, and the dashing felt awesome. I got super quick at beating that game. I was always just kind of doing my own speed runs and stuff like that. I love that game so much. Same with Mega Man X2.
Cool.
Great game.
Oh, and also just to comment on the Simpsons game. So apparently, I looked it up. It was only available from like something like February 2013 or 2012 to December of 2013, and then it was taken off PSN and Xbox Live. So it was only on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Wow, so it
for
sounds like it's got some license
Oh,
in it.
less
Get
than
in
2
while
years.
supplies last.
Either that
I
or
would
just
like to get a
download
PS3 again just to see what games I can still download. Like I bought a whole bunch of digital games on
hilarious.
PS3. Like
Just
maybe I should
download
look for
MAME
one or something like
and-
that. That'd be
I'm
fun.
sure Ian would let you borrow his PS3.
I have 2 PS3s. You could borrow the one that's in a box.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Actually, I have
Yeah.
3 PS3s, but only 2 of them work.
Okay. Huh. Cool. Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
All right. My number 1. You guys could probably guess it. But it's a single player game. Its genre is cinematic platformer.
God of War.
It released on a fuck ton of consoles. Even consoles of today. Composer. French music composer Jean Baudelaire and Raphael Guesqua. And the designer and director is Paul, I cannot pronounce his name, Quisset. He's French.
I mean, you butchered the other names. What a difference.
Yeah,
it
it's,
doesn't matter.
it's French. Come on, let's.
Paul Quisset? Quisset?
When you're in a hole, keep
Cuisset.
It's probably wrong either way.
Anyway, I'm surprised you guys, developers, you guys could keep guessing and I could stop doing this. Developer is Delphine Software International and
Metal Gear.
On Super Nintendo.
Tiertex. It's on Super
Flashback.
Nintendo. Yeah, there you go, Dave.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
said
duh.
Delphine. I'm like, it's
It's
Another World or Flashback,
It's on
and
Super
I know you
Nintendo,
like
PC,
Flashback
CD,
better.
3D, CDI, Jaguar.
It's
on
funny that I had
it's on
trouble.
every console of the
PlayStation
early
4,
90s,
Dreamcast.
yeah.
It's on Xbox One.
Well,
on
it's
everything.
funny that I hesitated with what it was because I was looking through like top SNES games and I saw Flashback. I'm like, oh, Ian's gonna pick that. No, I didn't even put it on my list, but yeah.
Flashback, or released as Flashback: The Quest for Identity, 1992 science fiction cinematic platform game.
You played that on Genesis, didn't you?
I play this on Genesis. Yeah, all my games are Genesis based. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what we had in the house.
Figured.
At the time, and I love this game. I beat this game. I remember beating this game. And
Those
just,
little animation segments are still cool.
still cool. Great music. I don't know.
It's
I love
probably
this
the
game.
peak of that rotoscoped animation,
It
isn't it?
Yeah.
has a place in
Oh,
my heart. I've
so
bought
good.
it on every platform. I have it on iPhone.
Flashback 2 comes out when?
It already came out. It didn't do very well. It's not.
Oh.
very
It's
good.
funny, my experience of this game is someone bringing it over one Sunday afternoon for an hour or two,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of enjoyed it, but it didn't grab me in that hour or two, and then I never
100%.
got a chance to
100%.
experience it. So,
100%. Like I remember, so when Shane bought the Genesis from Justin, the game came. It's the game that Justin had bought. It came because in the game it had a comic book. Anyway, so I remember playing it, just checking it out. I was like, oh my god, it's very difficult and rudimentary the way the game works. And if you were to play
I
it
remember
now,
the jumps being difficult.
well, just
yeah.
everything is like you pull the gun out and then you shoot, or you put the
Mhm.
gun away and then you do your other shit. So it's very like methodically thought out. Like there's a lot of different. It's a very much of a systems game. And so
Yeah.
the first time I played it, I was just like, oh my god, this is obnoxious. And then I don't know, a while passed, and then Shane started getting into it, and so I was like, okay, all right. And so like I started over and I started playing through it again, and I don't know how long it took me to beat it, but I just remember there's some moments in the game where you're like stuck. There's one moment in the game towards the end where like you can't go anywhere. You kind of come to this. You run through this hallway, and at the end of it, it's just like this vast expanse, and there's no way across it. And you go back the other way, and there's nothing over there. And I just remember like, fuck it, and I just jumped. You just jump. You're supposed to just jump out into this void. This is like pit. And at the very end, as you reach it, you grab onto this point and you hang on, and then you pull yourself up, and it's just like, it was like one of those things like, holy fuck, like, I don't know, it's stupid now thinking about it.
Take a leap of faith.
Yeah, it's like a leap
Yeah.
of faith, but like now in games, it's like that shit's just common. But at that point in my video, it's like, and just that
You
point,
also go to the internet as well nowadays. and
yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
now
Yeah,
you can.
what do I do
Then
here?
you have no idea. You could
It
fall
was
down.
maybe a magazine article with a couple of hints, but
Right.
I was just thinking like that gameplay style. This is like sci-fi Prince of Persia. I remember playing that on
Not
Apple
really.
II.
Yeah. I mean, I mean that's
The
like some-
gameplay style, like jumping and
Maybe.
running around and that kind of stuff, pulling yourself up on the ledges. That all
I
came
find
from
But the
Really
combat
beat-
definitely not. Like the combat
Definitely
is
not.
so-
That's
I
why I
would
say
beat another
sci-fi.
world like the other year.
But I
Yeah,
just remember
another world.
beating it and like, holy shit, we're beating it, and then this whole this cinematic ending and the music, and then I don't know, it was great, it was awesome. My brother and I were like just jumping on the bed and excited, and it's like,
Actually made me
it was
wanna go
awesome, it was
play that.
cool, and
Yeah, it is a cool game.
it was an awesome game. I've played it quite a few times since. I haven't beat it since, but I've played it quite a few times since.
Was the remake on PS3 or PS4?
The remake is on PS3, but it's not a
Yeah.
direct remake. It's like a rework. It's a totally different game.
It's retooled a bit. Yeah,
A bit. No, it's totally.
I
different.
played through a little bit of that, and I was
I
like,
have
eh.
it. It's just
Yeah.
not that game.
Any modern PC should be able to run it on an emulator.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No
if you
doubt.
want the.
But I love
the
that
real-
game.
So is this the type of game where you just have to explore and try everything in order to know?
You're gonna
go
fail
next?
a lot. Yeah.
And
you're
everything.
gonna
It
fail
doesn't
all the
explain
time.
anything. It doesn't tell you
Wow.
anything. Like
Yeah.
like
Classic
like
game.
other games in his series, like Another World, it doesn't really tell you anything
Yep.
about it. And what's the 3D one? I don't know what the 3D one is, but that was,
There's an adventure game from before that called Future Wars that I really like and I've never beat. and it's the same. It doesn't explain.
And we're just about to get off here for couch co-op.
pixel.
I'm Ian.
And so the one
Be
you're talking
excellent
about
to
is
each other.
Fade to Black was kind of a sequel.
Yeah, Fade to
Yeah,
Black.
that was very challenging. One of
that
my
was
friends and I
when
beat
they
that.
Sorry,
tried
Dave, I
to
didn't
take
mean
it to
to.
3D. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Fade to Black. I remember, speaking of demos, I remember having a demo disc of that and not even being able to
I
beat
dare
the
you to watch a
demo 'cause
video
it
of
was
that.
so hard.
It doesn't make any sense.
I dare you to watch a video of that right now. It looks like complete ass. Well, most PS1 games do, though.
Well, also the funny thing is, like, Another World can be beat in like what, 20 minutes, if that. Like it can be beat like super quick.
Yeah, it's not too long. Yeah,
Hi, Aaron.
What up, Aaron?
Yo,
especially if you skip the cutscenes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But no, I love Flashback. It's a great game, and it's why I'm not a big fan of this generation, but why I still hold it in reverence, because this game came out and it showed me that video games could be more, and I think it is what they became, because like video games after this then began to become more cinematic, and like as a filmmaker, it's like
I think if you broaden it out to 16-bit machines, this generation, like some of the games we talked about, like Flashback and that, they were released on 15, 20 different machines. And so there were so many people just pushing in different directions and trying new things. And I don't think you'll see the like again, because now
well,
it costs
it's
a
like,
fortune.
well, I mean, Flashback, is what Death Stranding, that's that game ultimately. It's like Death Stranding is like a platformer in itself, in its own way. Learning to walk. I don't know. I just feel like
funny.
Flashback is what gave me hope about video games in the future. And so I feel like it's that spark that like made me like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I won't write off video games completely.
Yeah.
I mean-
is that why you stuck with it and decided to buy Metal Gear Solid 2?
No,
eventually.
that has nothing to do with it. But,
I just wanted to list the machines that this game came out on.
oh, I know there's a
The
shit
free-
ton.
The 3DO, the Acorn Archimedes,
Yeah,
the Amiga,
yeah.
the Atari Jaguar, the FM Towns, the Mac. It's been re-released on mobile. The NEC PC98, which is a kind of Japanese PC version. The Switch, the PC, the Philips CDI, for those bonus point people. PlayStation 4, which is the remake. Sega CD, the original Sega Mega Drive / Genesis, the Super Nintendo, and the Xbox One.
Oh, we got more on the Wikipedia. We have Symbian, we have Mamo, we have FM Towns,
Yeah, I think I've mentioned the FM Towns, yeah.
Dream. Oh, you say Dreamcast?
No, but someone's probably ported it to that, would be my
I wouldn't
guess.
doubt it.
Anyway, yeah, it's on a lot of fucking shit, dude.
Yep.
sounds like
Well, you
it.
can buy it for $10 on the Xbox store or Microsoft store.
Anyway. All right. Well, that's our list. Aaron, very quickly, if you have them written out, go. Top 3 games from the 4th generation of consoles.
Fourth generation, that's the Super Nintendo's generation, right?
Super Nintendo Genesis, TurboGrafx
All right.
16, and NeoGeo. Go.
All right, Super Nintendo, I gotta say Spawn, Turtles in Time. I'm gonna also say Super Mario World, and from Sega Genesis, I'm gonna say the
That's
Spider-Man
you already
game,
said
actually.
3. You already said 3.
Oh,
Yep.
well, there we go.
Well, you've got good instincts. We forgot
Yeah.
to do honorable mentions, actually.
We could
how's
do
it
honorable
on?
mentions.
Yeah.
Because I had a list of
What's your
more than
4th
3.
honorable mention from the Genesis, Aaron?
It was actually the Spider-Man game, the original Spider-Man game, not Spider-Man 2 or anything like that, just the OG Spider-Man one. That was a fun little game itself.
A lot of games where you're punching stuff.
I'm going to
I like
say
it.
Street Fighter. I remember playing this Cammy a lot. Her little sweet little butt cheeks.
I was a Chun-Li guy.
Well, I just liked her
I
little
like
butt.
she-
When she
Yeah, I
won,
like Chun-
she had little butt cheeks. And it's like,
Yeah.
because I'm
I
a
played
pervert.
that game a lot. I played that game a lot on the PC, but I'd have to actually go with Mortal Kombat over that game.
I was
But
going to say Mortal Kombat was a big one as well. On the,
Oh,
on
like
the
Mortal
Genesis.
Kombat
Clay
2.
Fighters.
Because Super NES Mortal Kombat 1 was pretty lame with the gray blood.
Yep. I liked F-Zero. That was a game that I didn't play till
Star
probably
Fox.
97, 98,
Oh, yeah,
but
Star
I
Fox
really
is a good
enjoyed that. The sense of speed and like I remember trying to beat your personal best on the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the Lost
Had lots of
Vikings or
that.
the Three Vikings? Lost Vikings?
Lost Vikings. I
Yeah,
think.
that game's
that
pretty
was
awesome.
made by Blizzard.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool game.
Yeah.
I think the other thing we also forget, most of these games didn't have battery backup. So if you were going to try and beat them, you were sat there for, 2 to 6 hours to beat them.
Oh, they had codes, or they had.
Yeah, some of them had codes, some of them didn't.
Some had
though.
save
I mean,
points.
all my top 3 had batteries.
I was going to say the games Jared's talking about take 30 hours to complete. So
Yeah.
of course they had some kind of battery backup, but
I feel like Flashback had some kind of code thing because I didn't play it all the way through. I saved.
Yeah, it had something.
Had some kind of
Yeah,
save.
I don't remember
system.
exactly.
Like you would
Yeah,
type in a
it's-
code or something.
it's not like today where you would type in a code and you'd have the ammo and all the
cheat
all the
codes.
bits
Yeah.
that you're left with.
Yeah. But one it should usually go on my top 3, but right now Super Metroid is absolutely on my top 5. That's still one of my favorite genres, that style of game.
I always thought it was
Um,
dumb how they just put Super in front of everything for the Nintendo.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was
Gotcha.
annoying. The same with
Super
the Nintendo
C.
64.
Super
Yeah,
Doom.
Super C. Yeah, I love Super C. Contra. That game was awesome.
It's not like they were bad games, but they just put Super. It would just be like the sequel, and they put
Super
in
Duck
front
Hunt.
of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it's super lame.
But they did.
Chrono Trigger, you mentioned, John.
You didn't even put it in your list, and yet you mentioned
Yeah,
it.
you mentioned it pre-show.
Oh,
I
I've
thought-
never played Chrono Trigger. I
Oh,
that just
what?
I know
Yeah,
that
fuck
just
that
pops up
game.
in a lot of lists.
Fuck
Yeah.
that game. All
Yeah,
these people
most Square
that are
games.
hard on by that game, fuck those people. No one cares about your Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Jeez.
ActRaiser. Did anybody play ActRaiser? That game was amazing. Yeah, I got this bottomless list. There's tons that I'm not even
Yeah.
going to bring up. I could do a whole
Were
episode.
you a
just
Secret of
talking
Mana guy,
Super
Aaron? We were
Nintendo.
saying you were a Secret of Mana guy.
I didn't. I never played that game,
Oh, see?
honestly. But I did.
Oh, I
play
thought you
different-
did.
but man.
No, what's
No,
your,
that's-
the RPG he's into is Legends of Dragoon, and that's
There's
not this
also-
generation, right?
There's
My,
also-
my.
Come on.
I thought JPK was gonna say something like that.
No, I also had. I also did. There's another game I did like. That was on PlayStation.
Something involving sexual torture a little bit.
Actually, no. I'm trying to think what it's called. Oh God, Legend of the Gaia. That's the one. Legend of the Gaia. That was another one I really enjoyed.
How many Legends games are there in
there's so
this
many.
All the
generation?
legends. All the
One too many.
legends.
Yes.
Legendary.
This is how legends are made.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was one of the other ones I really enjoyed very much. But that's
All
not
right.
the generation in question.
Any other
Yeah.
honorable mentions for the 4th gen? I
Hmm.
think
Aaron
Sonic
mentioned
2. I mean,
Turtles
Dave
in Time.
mentioned
Yep.
Sonic, but I think Sonic 2 is arguably Sonic
yeah, I
people's
would buy
favorite
that.
games. I mean,
And then there was Sonic and Knuckles. I always liked how Sonic and Knuckles, you plug that in and then you could plug Sonic 1, 2, or 3 in, and it would give you a slightly different experience depending on what cartridge you have plugged in the top.
Yeah,
I always thought that
Well,
was a really cool
that is cool.
idea. But then like Sega just went off the rails, didn't they? Like mid-90s, they were like, okay, let's do the Tower of Power. You've got the CD,
Mm-hmm.
Mega
Yeah.
CD, and then you've got the 32X on top of it.
Oh yeah,
It's
that
just like,
contraption.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
wild.
I didn't know anybody have that
Bomberman
stuff, but I saw it.
94.
Well, yeah, Super Bomberman was mentioned
That was
earlier by
good,
Dave.
yeah.
That I spent so much
Road
time
Rash
on that
2.
game.
oh yeah, Road Rash. Actually, yeah, I forgot Road
I
Rash 2.
had
That was
many a fight
that
with
was
my
one I
brother over
really
the
enjoyed.
game.
NBA
I love, like,
Jam.
Coming up behind someone and like.
Oh, that's a
smacking
good
them
one.
with
I
the
forgot
bar.
about that game. Almost forgot about that.
Can't
Toe Jam
forget
and
about
Earl?
Clay Fighter.
Clay
Talk about
Gosh, that's
No,
what
I played a
Blitz.
lot of Toe Jam and Earl. The original is way better than the one that came out in recent years. I had fun with that.
Who
game,
played
playing
Comic Zone?
multiplayer.
That game is fucking hard. I don't know.
It is hard.
That
I
game
never
is
played it.
fucking, I have it on
Yeah.
PS3. It is gnarly.
That's where I played it, and yeah,
It
that
is
game is
fucking
absurd, but it's
gnarly.
cool style.
I also feel like this is the generation where after the NES, where Nintendo
Alex
still had
Kidd in the
some
Enchanted Castle, Dave.
oomph in them. I
That
did play
sounds
that one.
familiar.
There's a couple that I played with my dad that I still think fondly of. The Super Scope 16 came out, and it had
Oh,
a
gosh, I
cartridge
remember
where you
that.
could blast like missiles going through the air and like mechs
Missile
that were
Command.
dashing around. And they're super cool, really well animated, and super black bass going fishing.
So no Earthbound, no.
I didn't get into Earthbound.
Super Castlevania 4.
I love, the Castlevania series is amazing. Yeah, Super Castlevania 4.
Oh, there it is,
great.
Aaron. Illusion of Gaia.
Illusion of Gaia. I love Illusion of Gaia.
Super
Yeah.
Punch Out.
Alundra. Oh no, Alundra was PS1.
There's Legend of the Gaia. That's a different era, I think. Different. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Super Star Wars.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was a fun one. I had that for the
Killer
Super Nintendo.
Instinct comes out on Super
Mhm.
Nintendo.
Which
Oh, that
which
was a good
that
one,
came
too.
with a CD soundtrack, and I used to
Yep.
listen to that CD all the time.
I'm not surprised. Not a bad way, of course.
Yeah, as I said, I could probably just fill an hour of a list of games I loved for the Super Nintendo, just myself. I stopped before my phone filled up. You know.
There were so many games.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time playing games in that era, and
Yeah.
one of the
grew up
best
in that
Mario
era,
games
so I
came out on
understand.
the Super Nintendo, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
Oh yeah. I did not like that game.
So for
I feel like this-
Love that
TurboGrafx,
game.
TurboGrafx 16, since we need to give it some love, we got Bomberman 93. We got
Bonks.
Splatterhouse, Air Zonk,
Yeah,
Bonks of Renge. Yeah, Bonks.
I played a couple of good RPGs on it.
The original Yeez 1 and 2.
I played Ys 1 on there. Yeah,
That
was good.
I never knew anybody had these consoles at the time when they were out. I only knew Nintendo and I knew Genesis.
All
That's all I
these
knew.
games seem so kind of.
So it's funny. A recent memory. I was able to rent a lot of NES and Super NES games from the local pizza joint in my hometown, and I always knew that there was like this high school kid that was like putting the games there for me to rent. And in recent years, I got to meet him, and I told him thank you.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah,
I ran
thanks.
my-
You're
the
still
grocery
working
store.
at this pizza place.
No, he didn't actually work there.
All right,
Well.
let's wrap this up and let's move on. Well, wait. Aaron, have you played any mobile games?
Mm-mm.
There's no Aaron's Mobile Minute! Not tonight! Not tonight! Because he's too lazy to play a game on his phone!
That's right.
All
Been
right.
playing a lot of Spider-Man 2, so.
Yeah, you've been on that late at night, too. Anyway,
Oh man.
Hey.
couch co-optionals. Let's kick it off. Jared, couch co-op me.
I just watched the first episode of a series on Disney Plus. It's called Bugs. Yeah, it's part of like Bugs Life, but it's a Bugs Real Life. It's like voiced over by the Aquafina girl.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of
Aquafina.
going into like details of how different insects live in different city environments. And it's crazy. Like some of it looks very real, but I'm pretty sure most of it's CG. And it's really interesting because it shows like this perspective of like the jumping spider and the dangers it encounters and ants and what they go through and cockroaches and stuff like that in New York City.
Screams
And the
of
episode
screams of I can't watch violence while my kids are around. Let's watch Disney insects.
Oh, it shows what a praying mantis chopping off a cockroach's head
That's
and
nature,
eating its
though.
head. You
I
know,
mean,
that's
yeah.
violent, right?
That's nature.
Right. Disney
Did blood
nature.
shoot out of its head?
Yeah, just buckets. It splattered on the
It's
screen.
Tarantino
Yeah.
style,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, but
Just get
it
up
was
against the wall.
really interesting, and I'll probably continue that. It's really
All right,
unique
cool.
show.
Watch
and
some
I
insects
think
on
it's really
Disney
well done.
Plus.
Yeah,
Aquafina,
A Bug's Real Life.
A Bug's Real Life. All right, Dave,
Yeah.
what you got?
I started watching Jack Reacher. I've
Oh,
watched
you
seven
dad
out,
TV,
seven
baby.
out of the 8 episodes. I'm really enjoying it.
It's
It's
great.
stupid,
It's
but
great.
it's good.
It's great dad TV.
And JPK's like
Hey.
just laughing and nodding his head.
Are you
and I
starting
like
on the
know
first
why.
season, or are you?
Yeah, the first season.
Oh wow, okay, yeah, you got 2
Are
seasons.
you gonna get
there.
on TRT too, Dave?
TRT2. Sorry, I'm not up with how you young.
Testosterone replacement therapy. That's what the actor is on.
So, have you ever tried testosterone?
I don't need to try it.
I had some cream once and I rubbed it on my chest. And if you ever want to know how fucked up hormones can make you, the doctor
believe it.
prescribed me one time, and I felt like a bloody cartoon character. Because like you rub it on, like 5 minutes later, you're like,
That's
what
just
to
reminds me of-
destroy? Like you just have this feeling of like you want to run and like destroy stuff. It was the most surreal experience. Anyway,
just
beside the point and probably overshare, but you know,
It's a fun show. They do a good job.
It's a
I'm
good show,
excited
yeah.
for the third season. So
yeah, they make a good job of him being likable, but like being weird and at the same time. But yeah, there's obviously something going on with him because he's built like a brick shit house.
well, he's always been like that. He was like that in the
Yeah.
Titans show, and anyway.
I must admit though, in the seventh episode, there's this one like skinny little guy that attacks him and gets the better of him, and I'm just like, it's totally the opposite. He's been facing off against these like South American hitmen who know all these like martial arts and all the rest of it, and kicking their asses, and then he meets this like nobody hick.
That's all like that's like plot device.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It just
they're all
it just
like,
doesn't fit as well with the rest of it. So
mm-hmm.
My couch co-optional. What am I gonna pick? I have so many things to choose from. I've been watching a bunch of the movies that are nominated for Oscars, which I'm not a big fan of the films, really, a lot of them. But I do really like The Holdovers. Alexander Payne stars Paul Giamatti. Alexander Payne's done a lot of movies. Anyway, it's pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Feel like an old movie. Like a lot of movies seem like new movies. This has this very vibe of like being. I know it's kind of a kind of a time period movie because it takes place in like the 70s, but just the feel of it. I think it's shot on film and it has this very old feel to it that I liked. It was very comforting. But yeah, it kind of reminds me in a way of like the loser, kind of a losery son of a woman. But
Paul Giamatti's very good at playing
he's
middle-aged losers.
that's what he did. Well,
Yeah.
he's great, but he's also the hero though. He's the hero in the movie. But even though he loses, but he's the hero. Anyway, well, it was funny too because like I've never seen his. So he also did that movie Sideways, the wine movie. That's Alexander Payne and Paul
yeah, I've
Giamatti.
never seen that.
And I've never seen it, so I watched Holdovers first, and I was like, "Fuck it, I've never seen Sideways, and that's supposed to be a great movie." So I watched that too, which is also a really good movie. And he plays. It's funny because he plays the same type of character, but they're two totally different types of characters too. It's so nuanced. He's a really good actor. Anyway, Holdovers.
He did a Mark Maron episode where Mark Maron asked him if he felt like he's getting typecast, and he admitted that I do feel like I'm getting typecast, but
but he doesn't care.
Make some money.
no,
Have you listened
He
to
wants
Paul
to work.
Giamatti's podcast?
no,
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
what you should
into
do.
it.
Oh no, but
The
he has
conspiracy
like
theory stuff.
Tom Hanks is on it, and Bruce
Really?
Campbell's on it. Yeah, no, it's fucking
okay.
great. You
Nice.
should take a listen to some of those episodes. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, double. You're getting a double. It's a Paul Giamatti Full House on the Couch Co-op. Anyway, Aaron, what do you got?
All right, so I have a couple things, but the one that I really, really want to talk about is What If Season 2 on Disney Plus. God, that show's so good. I respect them because they decided to the first season was all about like what happened in the Avengers broad thing, but this one's like a completely different twist. Not twist, but like it uses different things. Like the one episode I just watched, they had the Tomahawk Nation person
That
get
was
the
a great
powers.
episode.
That was
Yeah.
really good. And they did it all in in the native tongue of that tribe,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember right. Then they did the Happy Hogan Save Christmas, and that was. It's just such a good series. I'm really digging that. I can't wait to see what happens in the end of it because I think I'm on. I think that's episode 6. I think, but
Yeah, we're in the same
I'm
spot. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think I
Good
just
stuff.
finished. Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. Just yeah, go check it out. Whoever
Hey,
wants to
another
see it.
Disney
What
Plus
if?
plug.
Yes, I just like the fact they decided not to go all like they did some stuff. Obviously, the whatever it is, but I like the fact they're doing different things now. Like, what if Hela met the person with the 10 rings, and then the whole thing with the tomahawk, the tomahawk nation people getting the power stone. And it's just like kind of cool what they did, and they actually made it all in their native tongue, which is I was not expecting that. It was really cool what they did with it. So
Cool.
I love it.
All right. And John, close us out. What do you got?
I've been listening to more Mexican alternative music. So
I'm on a Mexican world radio.
So I've been 2 tracks that I like is Siempre Reprochar by Atomics and then Pasos by Comunion. But I really like I've been digging on Mexican alternative music.
Cool.
So that's what I would recommend.
Cool. All right. Do you speak Spanish? Or are you just like vibing out with
No, I mean
you don't really
my
care?
Spanish comprehension is a lot better than it used to be. I just have more appreciation for Mexican culture because I worked
see that.
around
Because
a
you work
lot
in
of them.
Vancouver now and you understand.
Yeah, in Kentucky.
You're waiting in the line at Home Depot.
No, I wouldn't go that far. But I worked with a lot more Mexicans at my last job, and so it was really cool to talk to them. And they're I really like the culture, and the people are super nice.
They are.
I agree with that. I lived in Hillsborough, and I met a lot of Latino people who lived out there. And they were some of the nicest people I lived around. So I totally understand that.
My family is Hispanic and comes from anyway.
And Spanish is I would say Spanish is a much easier foreign language to learn compared to other foreign languages.
Not to mention, attention is ridiculous because you're around it enough in this side of the world. It's like if you learn it, you never have to worry about forgetting it, just because so many Latino people live out here. So it's like it makes sense. You just can speak it and never have to worry about losing it. It's not like French or German or Japanese where
I wish
you
that
learn
they
it.
would stop working like where they work though, or I wish they would stop doing construction and stop making food. And I wish some of them would like help some of these brewers with these Mexican cervezas that they're brewing. Like, hey, fuckers, this is not how this is supposed to taste.
I
Stop
agree
fucking with.
this.
Stop putting all the hops in our. It's.
Stop making our beer
Anyway, you're
hoppy.
ruining the Mexican cerveza. Anyway,
I think that's could be said for most of the lagers that they produce in these small breweries.
This is
It's like
true.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
cut
yes.
back on the hops, please.
Just stop with this bullshit.
They make a German lager. It's the same deal. It's like way too many hops. No.
Pacific Northwest, get fucked. All right. All right. This is the Couch Co-op Show, baby. Yeah. Man, we are trucking along. We're not quite at 400. We're like at 380 something. But we're getting close to 400 episodes, and we're getting close to our 10-year anniversary. It seems kind of crazy. Anyway, we'll have more news about all that stuff coming up in future episodes. But until then, I want to thank you all for listening and remind you to leave feedback at thecouchcoopshow@gmail.com or find us on our socials at Couch Co-op Shows, all one word, no hyphen. You can find us on platforms we don't mention, platforms like Facebook and Instagram. We're around. if you want to leave us some messages, go ahead. I think the best way to message us, though, is the couch co-op show at gmail.com, or just when we record live, like we are right now on twitch.tv/the couch co-op show, just pop
Every
into the
Sunday
chat.
night.
Every Sunday night. And well, we start at around 8:30, but 9 o'clock is when we're on.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, you can just pop in and just talk shit about us. Anyway, I want to thank Jared, Dave, Aaron, and John for joining me here on the couch for Couch Co-op on me and reminding you to please be excellent to each other. Wild stallions.
Couch Co-op! Couch Co-op is full of douchebags! Couch Co-op!
I thought JPK was gonna say something like that.